everybody, Tim W. Rago here, Games, Moves, and Vlogs. How the hell are you people? So once again, we are here with the second review of G-Fest, which we haven't done it in fuck knows how long. Don't know how, sorry it's taken us so long to do this, but I'm here with fellow creature and nerd obsessed and all that other crazy nerdy bullshittery.
How's it going, folks? Justin from Monsterverse here. Welcome back to the channel and welcome to this review. And also joining with us today is my good friend, well, our good friend from the frozen north of Scandinavia.
That will be me, aka the Dude Meister, creator of my own bullshit and a nerd extraordinaire.
As with every other successful film in any part of the world, whenever a movie's successful, a sequel just has to be made. And in the case of Godzilla, well, big dude's no exception here. And 6 months after the first movie, we have the second chapter in Godzilla's legacy. In Japan, it is called Godzilla's Counterattack, but a lot of releases call it Godzilla Raids Again. And this movie came out in 1955. Everyone seems to think that, you know, it came out one whole year after the first movie, since it says the release date is 1955, but no. This movie came out a full 6 months. You talk about a rushed production. You talk about a movie being rushed into production, like script, planning, everything. 6 months. And, I mean, and we all just watched this movie. I mean, doesn't it show?
Oh yeah, it shows bad.
Oh yeah, big time. Like I just said, it really does show. And because of the rush production, like with all the elements that you just said, Tim, the producers for this film, they didn't gather much of the same key ingredients, or the formula, which is a better way of saying it. The formula, they didn't gather the same formula that made the first film work so well. And yeah, I'll let you take it from here, because, sorry, I interrupted you, sorry.
Oh, you're good, dude. Also, for those who don't know, Godzilla Raids Again actually has a very interesting little piece of history, because over here in the U.S., to market it, I can't remember the name of the production company here, but they were actually going to take Godzilla Raids Again, and they were going to make it into not a kaiju movie, but a dinosaur movie called The Volcano Monsters, where the movie was going to be about a T-Rex fighting an ankylosaur in San Francisco, and to make this happen, all of the footage of Godzilla's atomic breath was going to be removed, and Toho was actually game for this, and they made suits for that. But the company that was going to do this closed its doors, and the suits vanished. Like, nobody knows what happened to them. So, for the sake of this review, everybody, we're doing the Japanese cut, because the American version, don't watch it. For the sake of your brain cells in your ears, do not watch the English dub version of this movie, because it is, oh god.
Horrible.
It is. It really is. Like, here's the issue. They call Godzilla Gigantus because when this movie did come out here to the U.S., it was called Gigantus the Fire Monster, which sounds like a title for another friggin' movie.
Sorry to interrupt. I was just going to say, because with all the given titles that you've just pointed out and said, I was going to mention, like, didn't they call it Gigantus the Fire Monster at some point? And
that was after the failed production of Volcano Monsters. They call it that.
That's really interesting. I never knew any of that until now.
Yeah, I know. The thing about Godzilla is that when it comes to his movies, each film has this odd piece of backstory to it. But, I mean, calling Godzilla Gigantus, I mean, that sounds like a completely different movie. I don't know why I have no clue why they call it that. Called him that. And also, Godzilla and we're introduced to his first enemy in this movie, Anguirus. And in the English dub version, Godzilla and Anguirus have the same friggin' roar for some reason. And then they try to explain.
Yeah.
Then they go on to say that they're both in the same family of dinosaurs, which how? It makes you literally question the frickin' logic in this movie, in the English dub version of this. Oh, and also, the English dub version includes footage from Unknown Island, which is a horrible dinosaur movie. So, the movie wasn't bad enough. Like, the movie wasn't...
I'm not... Sorry to get a little off topic here, but because you brought that up...
Yeah.
Yeah, Unknown Island, yeah. For anyone who's a hardcore fanatic of dinosaur movies, especially of the vintage-styled ones, I would skip Unknown Island unless you want to watch all of the, shall we say, classic dinosaur movies, if you can even call it that, put it in that category. In that category.
And then on top of that, it's the really cringy fucking dialogue in that. The dialogue in the English dub version is the definition of cringe. And I'm not going to lie, they did get George Takei to do the English dubbing, who's one of the stars from Star Trek. Which, I'm not going to lie, that's cool and all, but could they at least have given it better dialogue? Good God. So, for the sake of this, we're doing the Japanese cut of this movie, which is a lot better.
So, well, I would say slightly better.
Slightly better, yeah.
Yeah, but the movie's still, how to put it, boring for a Godzilla.
No, yeah, I agree. It's the pacing for the movie, despite the fact this movie is only an hour and a half long, which is sort of
minutes, yeah. This movie's only an hour and 21 minutes long.
For most show era Godzilla films, anyway. But still, despite the fact this movie's only an hour and a half long, it's the pacing is very slow. It has a very slow pacing. The only thing that made it quick paced for us was because when it was us watching the movie together. So,
yeah, but we're nerds, so.
Yeah, so, and there's not much in this movie that's really memorable.
There's really not. Actually, there kind of is. There's one scene in particular involving the prisoners, which I nicknamed the Japanese Three Stooges because they act like that. Because they were acting like it.
Wait, sorry, say that again?
Remember, there's the standout people scene in this movie is the infamous prisoner scene where the prisoners all where they jump the two officers in the back and they all escape, and then there's like those three that run back down the dark street, like.
Oh yeah, that.
I'm sorry,
I remember.
Those fucks responsible for the reason why Anguirus and Godzilla attacked that city.
They do, but at the same time, like, leading up to it, I call them Japanese Three Stooges because they act like the Three Stooges in that little bit.
It's funny how we were comparing the three of them to us. Like, if there was an actual kaiju attack going on, we would be them.
We would be, not gonna lie, we would be those three that would say, like, fuck this, we're out of here. Or at least run away as far as we can. But it's just it's just an odd scene. It's a really odd scene because it's like, dude, there's a giant monster out in the middle of your freaking harbor over here, and the first thing you want to do is do a prison escape. Like, really? It's an oddball choice for the situation. It's just.
Yeah, I thought about it when I watched this movie today, and I just when spoiler alert, when the car goes smash, I just went, dumb ways to die.
Nice.
Oh man, he dumb. Die.
Dumb ways to die. But
I mean,
Yeah, every
thing,
time we video, fuck.
the only weird thing when you guys are mentioning the pacing of this movie is, yeah, it is like snail's crawl slow, like, because everything with the people just feels it feels so reality based, and that's why it is a bit of a boring movie, because it's it's too based in reality so much. Like, it's just people working most of the movie. Like, that's literally all it is.
You don't feel any sense of urgency. I mean, for fuck's sake, there's two giant monsters attacking, and they go on and on about, oh, how am I going to spend my day tonight? Or how much money do you earn? I mean, hello, monsters, urgency, panic.
Exactly, and then there's also the one bit where what was it? Where they were having a dinner party like halfway into the movie. They all Osaka gets wasted. I mean, Tokyo level wasted, like in the first movie. And all the main characters decide to go to Hokkaido, where, and Daniel, I made the joke to myself when I was watching this movie because it was snowing in that scene, and I'm like, oh, look, it's Japanese Sweden. I was sitting there like, because it was snowing in that bit, and they're all having this dinner party at a restaurant, and it's like, God, really? Your home city just got wrecked. I mean, wrecked. And this is the first thing you want to do? Really? That's the first thing you think of? Like, seriously.
Well, to be fair, it did seem, to me at least, that there was sort of a time skip there. Like, from the moment the Kaiju attacked, there was like, I mean, there's been like 2-3 months or something like that.
Yeah, true, but at the same time, it's kind of like, even during that time skip, wouldn't you want to at least, like, show people getting more prepared in case they come back or something? But no, they just like, okay, let's just get on with, like, oh my god. When it comes to the human characters in this, the only two that really stand out besides the Three Stooges are the two pilot characters. Like, they're the only real, like, likable characters in this movie. Like, seriously, they're
the
main...
they are. And even they are kind of forgettable.
A couple of times,
yeah, like
the couple of bits, yeah, they are like it's just too reality based. Like, this movie is just too much based in it. I mean, the first movie was heavily based in reality, but this one here is just overdoes that. Like, it overdoes the basing it in reality thing. Like, it overdoes it, and that's why this movie's slow.
They're just uninteresting. It's just the best way I can put it. It's just, I got nothing to say about the characters. That's why I'm just letting you two chat that part out. But yeah, all I can say about that is just they're just uninteresting and doesn't they don't really do anything to make you invested or immersed in the story here. So.
And actually, what do you guys think of the fact that the one dude one of the human characters, Kobayashi, he freaking committed suicide at the end of this movie? He freaking tried to dive bomb Godzilla in a crappy biplane, and Godzilla shoots him. Like, what the hell did he think he was gonna do? Like, what did he think he was gonna accomplish with that? Like, seriously.
I was gonna say something, but that could be culturally inappropriate, so I'm not gonna say anything in case you are gonna decide to do it.
I just thought that was like a little off. Like, when I'm looking at it, I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, what did you think you were gonna accomplish, dude? Why are you dive bombing your plane against a giant animal that can shoot fire out of his mouth? Oh, and speaking of that, did you guys notice that Godzilla's dorsal fins didn't glow this time when he shot his atomic breath? Because the first one, his dorsal fins glowed, and this one it didn't. That's kind of weird. Like, I just think it was off that his dorsal fins weren't glowing this time. when he shot his atomic
Yeah, like-
raptor.
Yeah, like I said, the entire movie was, well, meh.
And also, this was one thing where I can say that Toho was not really up to their full potential here. I mean, I know they just wanted to get this movie out, but they really weren't up to their full potential, like, effects-wise, because especially with the fight scenes in this movie where they overcrank the camera and the fight scenes look sped up half the time during the main Osaka fight.
If we're talking about the kaiju aspect of the movie, because this is the first time Godzilla fights off with another monster where he meets his very first foe, many others. But this one, the fights came off as unintentionally comical. Yeah, because of how sped up the fights were.
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of, it was so weird. Like, the first time we see Godzilla and Anguirus was, and for some reason I timed it, I don't know why, 8 minutes and 37 seconds into this movie, we first see Godzilla show up and then Anguirus. That fight looked good. The fight with them when they first show up, that fight actually looked decent. And then when you get to Osaka, it's like, why is everything sped up? Like, what the hell? Like, why is everything now sped up? It just looks really weird. Like James said, it looks comical. It really does.
Yeah, he didn't like it at all.
They didn't. They hadn't quite perfected the slower speed in order to make the monsters look, so large and heavy. So
it's
it's just unintentional.
Well, with Godzilla fighting another monster, no, they didn't. But in the first movie, they did him completely right with slowing him down to make him look heavy. Like in the first movie, they did that perfectly.
Yeah, I don't hate that whole slowing them down just because they're big.
But speaking of the Big G himself, his design in this film, I would say, is a little... not one of the worst designs, but... all I can say...
He looks creepy to me.
Man.
He looks really creepy. I don't know why. Like, he just has this large grin on his face, and the way his eyes look around, it just looked really creepy to me for some odd reason. Especially one shot in particular where when he rises up out of the ocean, he kind of robotically looks left and right and then proceeds to walk forward. He just looks weird. He just moves weird. Like the way his face looks is just... I'm just not a fan of his face.
But I should say that our audience should know this as well. With this Godzilla, this is the same Godzilla that you're gonna see throughout the Showa series. So it's the same one.
Yeah.
So he's gonna keep coming back.
And I just love the fact how there's this thing I noticed with this Godzilla. Like in the first movie, Godzilla was like that one was pissed. I mean, that one was pissed off. Absolutely hated humanity. But the second one kind of shows up and he looks around like, okay, what the fuck is this? Who the fuck are you? Why are you popping fire at me? He just kind of had this odd personality to him. Like, he has this Godzilla has no clue where he is. Like, he has no clue what time period he woke up in. Like, this Godzilla was confused. Huh?
It's like he knows he's in his own movie and he's like looking around like, okay, guys, what the fuck am I supposed to do?
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what to do.
I don't get. I'm not getting paid enough for this. It was like the actor Godzilla himself was phoning it in.
Oh, Haro Nakajima. Yeah, people should know Nakajima
not the
played...
actor, the character.
Oh, the character was the one getting like, I can't get paid enough for this. Oh, but as soon as Anguirus shows up, then he's like, oh, good, I can actually do something. Like, as soon as Anguirus shows up. Oh, and one funny story about Anguirus is his shell. His shell was a pain in the ass for the suit makers because every time they tried to film it, you guys notice his shell was separating at one point, like his shell kept splitting open?
No, I didn't, because, this movie had a hard time getting my focus. I can barely focus on it.
Well, during the fight scene in Osaka when it first starts, like you'll notice Anguirus's shell started to separate. That wasn't supposed to happen, apparently. Like they tried to staple it down, they tried everything to make sure it didn't do that. Then it got to a point where they super glued the thing, and that for some reason worked. That for some reason kept the shell to stay, and yet there's promotional pictures showing the shell splitting open. So what the hell? So I don't know what kind of thing the studio was thinking. But what do you guys think of Anguirus' defeat? Like they go through this whole wrestling match, and then Anguirus just gets vampire bitten in the neck and then fried. Like he just gets freaking burned.
Yeah, not the worst way to go, but not the best.
There's like I said about most about this film already, it's just like meh, meh.
The only parts.
Yeah, that's the best rating we get this entire movie. It's just meh.
It's just meh.
Yeah, I will agree. I do agree. This movie, like the rush production, like it clearly shows with this. It shows way too damn easily, to be honest. To be perfectly honest.
Angus, what are your thoughts on him? I mean, this might be a hot take with most, but out of the main film designs that you see with him, I think this one's my personal favorite design. I don't know why. I just like the 95 design.
To be perfectly honest, actually, Daniel, what do you think of Anguirus before I say anything? What did you think of his very first appearance? What did you think of his design?
Passable. I've seen worse, but I've seen better. Like I said, it's very
early. Like it's very
unappealing. Just mix them. Forgettable.
Yeah, I can understand that.
You know, when it comes to...
I mean, this...
Oh, sorry.
I mean, this film is forgettable, so...
Honestly, when it comes to Anguirus' design, like, for a very first movie, you know, I like the fact that ankylosaurs were, like, a really huge, clear inspiration for him, because they call him an ankylosaur in the movie. But I love, when it comes to, when they explain Anguirus, when they first explain him, I love the fact that the two main characters are looking over pictures of dinosaurs in this. They're looking over random pictures of dinosaurs, just all this artwork trying to identify him. And be honest, were you guys naming the dinosaurs in the pictures? Like, were you saying them to yourselves? Like, if you knew the name? Oh, you weren't doing that? I was.
That was somewhat of a trend back in the day for a lot of 1950s sci-fi flicks that involved dinosaurs. You know, they did it in The Beast of 20,000 Fathoms. There's a few others.
Giant Behemoth did the same thing.
Yeah, that as well. And there's a couple of others that did the same thing, unless there was something else. Anyway, back to what we were saying.
But what's actually the one thing I do need to point out is, like, when that one paleontologist at that board meeting was reading about Anguirus, I'm sitting there calling bullshit during that whole spiel, because I'm looking at the book he's reading, and next to the page next to where he's reading has pictures of hadrosaurs, which are for those who don't know, they're the dinosaurs with the duck-looking face. I'm looking at that book. I'm looking at that book going, dude, you got hadrosaurs on the page before. There is no way you're reading anything about ankylosaurs on that page. There is no way you're reading that. There is no way you're reading about an ankylosaur on that page, dude.
Yeah, it was so that whole Anguirus part. It was so planned there for the movie.
Oh, when they showed they had the picture of him in the book. They had the picture of him. That was actually the concept art, I found out. That was the actual concept art for Anguirus that they slapped in the book. That was actually the concept for him. But that's why overall. Sorry.
That's a lot of monster movies nowadays and way back when they there's something I've picked up on. They've done that quite often.
What, where they put the concept art for the creature in the movie?
Yeah, there's been a few times that I've seen that.
Which is not a bad choice, to be honest with you. It's really not a bad choice. At least it gives the actors an idea of what they're reacting to.
Yeah.
So, overall, like,
Anyway.
I know this review so far, everybody, I know this review has been, like, really short, but Godzilla Raids Again, it's just... There's not much we can really say about this movie. There's really not. Like, and you would think that, you know, because it's a Godzilla movie, you would think that that Toho would have built it up a little more, or raised the stakes a little bit, like, because the first movie was just dark tone, very all serious, and very, very gloomy film, and then you've got this one, and then you got Raids Again here.
The first movie was just the definition of a fantastic film.
Instant classic.
Very.
Yeah.
And then you
but
just have,
this one,
yeah,
it's not a bad film. It's just
forgettable.
It is a for.
It could have
yeah, it is. It could be better. Like this, it could be a hell of a lot better.
It's not by any means a terrible film, though. It's got its perks as a Godzilla film, but as a Godzilla film, it's if you're a first time a Godzilla fan and you're just getting into the franchise, I would say don't skip this one, but be prepared that it's not going to live up to your expectations.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, and also, did anyone catch the little bit where during the Osaka fight, where Godzilla shoots his atomic breath at Anguirus' face, and Anguirus just shakes his head like he's mildly annoyed? Like he's just mildly annoyed at it. He's like, ugh, stop. And he's just shaking his head around like, stop it. Like he's so mildly annoyed by that. Like by being shot in the face. He's just doing
it. I imagine some fan doing a voiceover and Anguirus is talking in the really fucking weird voice. The strange, like, oh, stop it. Oh. Stop it!
I don't know. See, this movie's very comical, despite the fact that... And you guys notice that some sequels to movies are like that. Like, the first movie is all serious, and then the second one is just, like... is all funny for some reason. Like, I've noticed some movie franchises do that for some reason. Oh, and James, since I did this in the first movie, during the board meeting scene when the two pilot characters said that Godzilla and Anguirus were around, and Dr. Yamane's in this movie, played by the same actor, which I did like. It sucks he was very underutilized. He could have been in the whole damn movie, but he's only in like one scene. But I love how he says that Godzilla was killed. You know, I kind of like how he just like... He made everybody feel like crap when he showed up, because they're like, well, how? Because the authorities were like, well, how do we stop Godzilla? And Yamane's like, oh, I'm sorry, guys, but you can't. He it deflated everybody's hopes and dreams of just stopping Godzilla when Yamane's like, I'm sorry, but there's no way you can stop him. Like, he just deflated everyone's dream. And then after that, they mentioned the oxygen destroyer. They mentioned the oxygen destroyer, and Dr. Yamane mentioned Serizawa. So James, I gotta do it. So, no eye patch guy in this movie? Damn.
I would say that guy that you just said, you know, sucking out all the hope out of him, he's pretty much a human version of an oxygen destroyer, just removing all hope. You know,
from the room, yeah, because he literally, because the authorities are all saying, like, oh, how can we stop Godzilla? And Dr. Yamane says, well, I'm sorry, but given what happened in Tokyo, you can't. You can't. And they even show stock footage from the first movie to prove that. Showing Godzilla get multiple cannons to his face, and he's still walking. I mean,
he must be real fun to invite to celebrations. You know, what a killjoy, you know?
He was a definite killjoy. Dr. Yamane was a definite killjoy in this movie. But it just sucks, though, he was not utilized much. He was only in one scene. That really sucks, because he was a big player in the first movie. He was a major player in the first movie. Now he's in this one. He's only like one bit. But James, I'm sorry, but when they mentioned Serizawa, original Serizawa, like, oh, no eye patch guy.
No eye patch guy.
No eye patch guy in this. No eye patch guy in this movie. But overall, guys, I know this review was short, but we all knew this review was going to be this short because Godzilla Raids Again, not a terrible movie, very slow. Could have been a hell of a lot better. Not going to lie, this movie could have been so much better. So what score would you guys give it out of 10? I'm going to start with you guys.
I'm going to give it a 5 out of 10.
A 4. 4 out of 10.
I give it a 5. Like, it could have been better, but the rush production shows way too damn easily. So,
yeah.
Alright, so, again, folks, we all knew this review was going to be short, but we hope you enjoyed it, so please be sure to like, share.
I wasn't expecting it to be this short, to be honest.
Yeah, exactly. Let's hope the next movie's longer, because the next movie's a hell of a lot better than this. The next Godzilla movie is way better. No spoilers.
It's going to be a
on
shit
what
ton longer, believe me.
Oh yeah, but no spoilers on what it is though. For those of you who are Godzilla fans, you guys know. But for those who are not, we ain't telling you. So no spoilers on what our next review is. But please be sure to like, share, and please consider subscribing because all the support that you give us three, it gives us more to keep making this content for all you guys out there. So. Also, please come follow Dude Meister on DeviantArt. What's your name again, dude?
XXOlia. He'll be pinned down in the comments.
Yeah, I'll be in the description below. And then also with me, it's Dimetrosword 2022. Because Dude Meister posts some good, like, engineering art or something like that. Like, engineering stuff.
I make sci-fi stuff. And also, I'm the creator of the... a little flex here, but I'm also the artist behind our group's logos.
Exactly, which will be revealed. We're still getting everything together on that, and also for my DeviantArt, I post kaiju. I post a lot of kaiju fan art and a lot of figure art pieces. So for those of you who have DeviantArts, please request a figure piece. Seriously, please go and pick whoever you want to, because I have a lot of monsters to work with. And also, please come follow our Instagrams. You got Daniel Dude Meister, and you got Megalania 2023, and then James.
Come follow me at Jurassic World Monsterverse 2. I haven't been doing fuck all on that account lately, but I have another account that I've been using more often. Called Paleophiles Reviews. It should be easy to find, so if you want to go follow that instead, that would be better actually. So either one works, doesn't really matter to me.
Alright, so this is Tim W. Rago.
Dude Meister.
Oh, sorry. Jurassic World Monsterverse.
We'll see you all in the next review. Peace out, everybody.
Peace.
Peace.